Here we are.
Chesty Malone vlog number 21.
Chesty Malone vlog, Chesty Malone television, number 21, 22, I don't know.
With special guest, Bob Riley.
Cheers.
You know who Bob Riley is. Cheers, brother.
Iced coffee.
Oh, you got any whiskey in there?
No, I got to work at midnight.
You should know who Bob Riley is. If you don't,
Better ask somebody.
better ask somebody. Murderers Row, Stigmata. What other bands were you in?
Before Stigmata, that was a long time ago. Probably only local people would know that. Cranial Abuse did a demo, and we're on the Albany Style Comp, 1987. So
Nice.
People are familiar with that, but it morphed into Stigmata. Same people.
Gotcha. That's a classic early hardcore name, Cranial Abuse. Like mental abuse.
Yeah, well, we were little metalhead kids trying to be hardcore.
That's cool.
Nice.
I was around the same time I was a hardcore kid trying to be metal in my band Heart of Darkness. So
We're all connected in that way. I love when people my age try to pretend they were metal. It's hilarious.
well, the thing about me is that I literally actually started out punk and hardcore and then got into metal as opposed to most everybody else, because I've talked about him before, but I have an Uncle Alan who lived 112th and Broadway and was going to CB's in the early days before the Ramones got signed and stuff like that.
Wow.
And brought the Ramones' first album over to my parents' house when I was like 5 or 6 years old or something like that.
And you never been, huh? Thank God.
Yeah, he ruined my life. Thanks, Uncle Alan.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for nothing.
That's what I said. True story. Because I always fail to mention it because, for years I didn't mention it. I thought it was very uncool, is that my dad was a ticker taker at, he's a mailman during the day, and at night, extra loop, probably more so something to do. He worked at a local field house called RPI Field House. It's the college field house. And back in the day, they used to have tons of concerts there. And he had bought us Iron Maiden and Judas Priest tickets. This was 1982. And he says, you guys, me and my brother, I was 10 and my brother was 8. He goes, you guys never been to like a real concert. So earlier that year before the Maiden and Priest concert, we went to see the Clash. So that was our first show, and he Clash. And my brother actually had to sit on my dad's friend's shoulders because he was so small. He couldn't.
Wait, so what year was that for the Clash?
82.
Holy crap! All right. So that was the same year that they opened for the Who, right?
No. They were headlining, and it was Rock the Casbah, and to us it wasn't cool. Like so for years, my first show was Maiden and Judas Priest, and now I'm like, yeah, I saw the Clash, but really, me and my brother did not care about the Clash. They didn't come to Clash later to us. They were an MTV pop band. Us, we didn't understand. We were just kids.
I hear you. For me, like I like the Clash was actually the first punk album I ever bought. Was the first Clash album, and I still have it. And I was always trying to. I have an older brother who was into punk before me, because he was older. I was always trying to be different than him, and he liked the Sex Pistols, so I was like, well, I'm gonna buy the Clash.
Part of the big, I guess, the big three, I call them, the Clash, the Ramones, and Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
And the Sex Pistols is the only one I didn't get to see. I didn't go to the reunion show. Kick myself now.
Oh, I saw that in '96 in California.
I could have said I saw the Ramones, the Clash, and I didn't get to see the Sex Pistols. So.
I saw Motorhead. I'm sure you saw Motorhead.
I met Lemmy, yeah.
Nice.
Brought my daughter to see Motorhead, and it was this place upstate, farther north than us, called SPAC, Saratoga Performing Arts Center, and I hate it there. It's just one of those where it has a venue, and it's an open venue, and a lot of people just buy lawn seats. But what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Right? But try to get tickets inside. So anyway, Motorhead were playing on this giant bill with Slayer and I don't know, Slipknot were headlining. I don't know. Anyway, but daughter And there was a band before Motorhead. They were like this British band, and I don't know if she knew who they were, but we had like fourth row because a friend of ours was Kerry King's guitar tech, but so we were close. But my point is, like, during the British band, my sister was like, I know these guys. I was, boo, Motorhead. She was mortified. Dad, stop. Like, she and my friends, Motorhead, boo, it's being a jerk. Just to tease her, really,
It's
But,
your requirement to embarrass her as much as humanly
Obviously.
possible. So I mean,
Oh,
job well done. Yeah.
The more mortified she was more, Ed. I was laughing. She knew I was kidding. She's laughing too.
Yeah. I got to see Motorhead with Filthy Phil on drums. I think it was 92
Oh,
in
man.
LA. I actually saw them at Ricky Rackman's Cat House in Hollywood.
Oh, wow. I never.
It was like
That'd be
unannounced,
nuts.
pretty small club. And my buddy, Philip Lamond, we used to say he had the tannest penis in Hollywood because he would always talk to us about how he would sunbathe nude and go to tanning booths naked. So Philip Lamond, the tannest penis in Hollywood and North Hollywood.
I would take your word for it.
Yeah, well, I never saw it. So, yeah.
Dude, that you're the
But
tannest.
he called me up and he was like, out of everybody I know, I think you'd appreciate this most because he was an industry insider guy in Hollywood. And he was like, so, yeah, I'm going to come get you. We're going to go see Motorhead. Oh, fuck yeah. So.
I'm not sure if I saw Filter or not. I saw them because, for a second there he left, and the drummer for Saxon was playing for them.
Yeah.
And I was there. That was when I got the poster on my CD. The No Remorse record came out, and they recorded "Killed by Death" with him for that comp. I mean, everything else was filthy, but I saw them. It was 1987 or 88, so I'm not sure if it was Filthy or that guy. I can't remember.
Well, wait, was it which album was it? Was it
I heard the album, but I know who played. I know the tour. It was because I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but it's just my opinion, and I'm not a hater. I'm just not a big Overkill fan. Now the drummer for Stigmata, Jason Binder, plays for Overkill. I'm sorry, James.
wow, cool.
But
We're not big Overkill guys either.
we got there. We thought the lineup was Overkill, Motorhead, Slayer. We got there. We're like, oh, cool. Motorhead's on. We missed Overkill. We're all happy, and we found out it was Motorhead was on first.
Oh, man.
So
Yeah.
we're like, so it was Motorhead, Overkill, Slayer. I believe it was Seasons in the Abyss. So that was what, 89, maybe 89.
I think that might have been 90 for Seasons. I saw Slayer in 1990 in Pittsburgh on the Seasons tour. And I remember because it was the first Desert Storm thing, and Tom Araya came out and dedicated War Ensemble to the troops, which was pretty intense when that just happened. Yeah.
That's an intense song. But the first time I saw Slayer, me and my friends, again, the RPI Fieldhouse, but that was 86. And it was Raven, Slayer, and Wasp.
Cool.
And,
Nice.
but they only used half the Fieldhouse, so that goes to show, it was still pretty underground. Slayer still. The only thing they had as stage props were those two lights that made the upside crosses.
I saw Wasp in January of '85 with Metallica and Armored Saint at the Tower Theater in Philly.
Wow.
Cool.
I love
R.I.P. Cliff, actually, just
Armored
the other day.
Armored really like that.
What, Armored Saint?
The first record, yeah. The first EP, first record's pretty good. That
Yeah,
delivered.
you know what?
All right.
I couldn't get past their weird, armor costumes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. They were trying to be. They didn't know if they wanted to be goth or and part of the new thrash scene.
Yeah.
I don't think they make up their mind really because they were trying obviously dressing as fucking we can swear, right?
Yeah.
They're dressing as Saxons or knights or whatever to kiss British ass, but and then they had the thrash sound, so I don't think they really knew what they wanted to be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the impression.
I hear you. The first time I saw Slayer, were you at the show, was the Felt Forum in '88 with Danzig opening.
Oh man, I don't think I was at that one, but I saw Danzig on his first tour like 2 or 3 times. You know, I caught him here at a place called Saratoga Winters, and that's why I met the whole band and I got them to sign the record. Like I showed up at it was like noontime, so I was listening to them do their sound check, and it was me and one other kid outside. And you know, I was standing there. This is great. I'm hearing the whole set, you know. And I one by one they all came out, and I had them sign my record. You know, so
Cool.
in this one kid. And then later on that night, of course, you know, got to see him. And then I saw him at the Chance in Poughkeepsie. It was the same tour. But the first 2 or 3 years, I caught them. And I caught them at the Beacon Theater with Soundgarden the one year.
Nice. And COC, I think, actually was on that tour too.
COC wasn't on the bill, just Soundgarden.
Okay.
I mean, unless we missed COC, it's possible because we spent the night at Hell's Angels Clubhouse because this girlfriend of ours up here, her sister dated one of the guys, you know, and they lived on the 6th floor. So we actually drank in the Hell's Angels Clubhouse one, but they let us. I mean, I was only like 15. So we got wrecked. And then I remember me and my 2 buddies that came, we slept through Soundgarden. And we woke up when Danzig came out. We were really badly hungover. So
I saw the final Sam Hain show at the Ritz in July of '86, and then I saw, or '87, whatever the fuck it was, and then I saw the first like 3 or 4 Danzig shows, the City Gardens, and then the Ritz, and then the Disco Ritz, and somewhere in Pittsburgh.
I never got to see Sam Hain, and you know, the couple of times Danzig did a couple of reunions, and he played up here. I think I saw one of those, but I never saw the original Sam Hain. It was really hard for us to get to the city to shows because we were just of age to get in clubs, but like it took a couple years for like us older guys, you know, to have a car and I'll drive, and then we'll put in money to go, and you know. It was a little rough for a couple of years, but finally when, you know, we got the hang of it and over being nervous going to the city by ourselves, like it was nothing, you know. We were going to L'Amour's in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was harder than Manhattan, as you know, because Brooklyn, they go by street names and not numbers.
Yeah.
So you know where you're going, and this is pretty.
Before I moved to Brooklyn, yeah, man, it's like, what the fuck? And Queens is even worse.
Yeah.
People don't know. No, it's not bad, and you can just count where you're going. There's no numbers, man. It's all street.
Yeah.
So that was something. So we took the subway, you know.
Yeah.
I remember going to Grand Central and then taking the subway down to Brooklyn. But on the way back, like Grand Central was closed. So, and obviously we do it mostly in summertime when we did that. So a couple of us would sleep on the sidewalk and a couple of us would watch, and then we'd take turns until Grand Central opened and we were able to catch a train back upstate.
Yeah, I had similar shit, but like, so I had that uncle in Manhattan on the Upper West Side, and then my parents were kind of originally from the area, so we would go to Manhattan and to New York a couple times a year with my parents, and then
Awesome.
I grew up in a college town, so, and somehow, looking back, I don't really know how this happened, because when I was 18 and in college and stuff, I wouldn't have been friends with a high school kid, but I was like 14 and hanging out with guys that were like 5 years older than me and stuff like that, and I'd be like, yo, Circle Jerks are playing in Philly. You got to drive, you know? And they would, yeah, okay.
I think any way we could go, man, you know, and we were lucky to have some older friends, like, you know, once in a while, one would, you know, have a van. So there'd be like 10 or 15 of us. I remember go see, it was Voivod, it was Leeway, Voivod, and the Cro-Mags headlining at the Chance. And I didn't have ID to get in. I was 15 or 16, I think 16. And it was wintertime. And 10, 15 of us went, and like 10 people got in, and me and my 2 other friends, like we'd have ID, so they wouldn't let us in. So I was like, I'm not going back to the van. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to get in. I'm going to see this freaking show. And my 2 friends went back to the van, and I stood there, and you know, those bouncers are there. It was like, hey, kid, you can't stand out front, you know, beat it. And I kept ignoring them, like, you know, it was across the way from far enough from the door that they didn't want to come out in the snow. And up walks Doug Holland, and he goes,
You're talking real Cro-Mags. They were like OG Cro-Mags then at that point.
Well, without John, but, you know,
Okay.
best wishes, you know. So Doug walks up and I'll get you in, kid. Come on, you know. Well, like, why are you in front? I'm like, I can't get in. You know, come on. Doug was infamous for sneaking kids in. So we go to the front door and I had long hair at the time. He's like, you know, put your long hair in your baseball cap. Why? I don't know. These people don't know me, but I did what he told me. So we go in. This kid's with me. You know, his name's John Holmes. This is what he said. I'm like, they're like, yeah, you know, he's not on the list. And he's like, well, my band's headlining. You know, this kid's with me, blah, blah, blah. And he just wouldn't take no for an answer. And they're like, no, he's not getting in. He's like, man, fuck this. And he turns to me and goes, come on, kid. There's more than one way to do this. So we went around back. And I remember hearing Leeway on stage, and I'm dying, like, I'm missing Leeway, man. We were there to see Leeway and the Chromags. You know, Boy Bob was right, but we're there for Leeway and the Chromags. So he's all right, come on, kid. He pounds on the door. They let us in. He brings me up into the dressing room, you know, where everybody's hanging out. And he's like, right here for a couple minutes till it chills out. People know, you know, the door's open. And then I remember Leeway finished playing, and they came upstairs, and then Doug's like, you know, I remember handing a cassette to AJ because my band had opened up for them upstate Albany in '88, and it was before their first record came out. So I was like, I had the Leeway set on tape, and I was like, oh, AJ here. I was like, see, I'm taking a left and a right now. I'm trying not to venture too way far. So anyway, Doug goes, well, kid, you're in. Just, you know, go on. I thanked him, and I went downstairs, and I walked across the stage and into the crowd. It was packed, you know what I mean?
Perfect. That's awesome.
Friends are at the bar like, oh my God, how'd you get in? And I'm telling them, they're like, get out of here. I'm so free, you know? And then obviously years later, you know, Harley with my sister, you know, Doug had rejoined the band. And I remember going backstage, and I mean, I look way different than I did back then. Obviously, you know, well, tattooed head and probably 250 pounds heavier than I was. I just want to thank you, because he was just like this. Because now I'm like 3 times the size. I'm like, oh, he's scared of me. He's like, he's just won too many shows, man. He's cool. I got to thank him, and I'm friends with him on Facebook.
That's great.
Wait, you're friends with Harley on Facebook?
Well, me and Harley had just started talking again. So yeah, I'm friends. Actually, I'm friends with all of them.
Nice.
One of them on their own, because I don't think they're friends with each other.
Yeah.
We ran into Harley. Remember, actually, all of us went to the Misfits at Jersey, PNC or whatever, and we were out front. We were on the floor, so we were on the barrier, and Harley was behind the barrier with not Harley Jr.
Well, Little Harley and Jonah were both there, but
okay.
You know, I did kind of run into him, and Harley came over and hugged me, Little Harley. And,
that's good.
And Harley.
Wait, which Little Harley? Which Little Harley?
Give me the eye, you know. You know, and I go back to your dad before I get you in trouble, you know. No. And since then we've been talking. Just, you know, it's just, and I'm glad. Water under the bridge, man, for me, because his sons, you know, I'm their uncle, so it's it's forever.
At that show, rocking out, I thought that was adorable.
Oh, dude, my nephews are, and they love the music. It's not just hearsay, you know. Right. They grew up. Of course, they're gonna grow up in it with me and him.
Right. That's awesome.
They're surrounded by it. They don't have a choice.
Yeah, they don't have a choice. That's awesome, though.
I remember when I used to do artwork for Harley, and I remember he used to come over to my apartment in Astoria, and he brought Harley Jr. over one time, but he didn't warn me first. And the kid was like, I don't know, maybe 2, 1, and he was running around my apartment. But Harley didn't warn me, so I didn't kid-proof the apartment. And he's like grabbing. I was like,
and I've been to your house, man. It's like my man cave here. There's stuff that if you touch it, it's just, you know, it's not for kid hands. I get it. My granddaughter's out in the next room, and my daughter brings her in there, and she's, you know, all looking, and I'm like, oh boy, you're already playing on.
What can I destroy first? Yeah.
Guys are like, oh, wait to get in the oh boy.
Our first kid, little Anthony, he used to, holy crap, you can, I'm sure, feel my horror and pain.
It was the worst.
He used to go over to my records before he could talk, but he could walk, and just grab like a whole milk crate of like 50 records, and whoosh,
and they're just new records everywhere. It was like, oh.
and for some reason it was always the MN, so Misfits, Necros, Negative Approach, would always been Metallica, whoo-ah, on the fucking floor.
Yeah, kid, not the M's, please, not the M's.
Look at those Steely Dan records over there.
Go break those, not the M's. No, I hear you. Oh my God. I mean, sometimes I just feel like I'm just like, how many times I did move. I mean, I've been here for 24 years, so
wow.
Moving is
definitely not cool.
Yeah.
My mom's actually from Schenectady. So
wow.
I grew up going up to the Tri-Cities up there when I was a kid.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah, Schenectady's really cool, man. They used to have a couple places out there where they used to do shows. They used to actually do shows at the Eagles Lodge out there.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Sick of It All, Murphy's Law, Agnostic Front. Oh man, it was hilarious actually, because it was just one big giant room, and you'd walk in and the bars to the right, and then you'd come to the stage, and the stage was just like, it almost just like it was in the middle of the room, and on the other side was where the kids would be facing the band. So if you walked in, you're looking at the back of the band, and there'd be all these old men sitting there.
I love those kind of shows.
Crazy chaos, hardcore going on, behind. Like, but they just sat there and drank. Like, what's going on? Those they had their booze. They didn't hear.
Yeah, we actually, some of those places still exist. In April of 2019, Chesty Malone, we played at a place in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, called the Jacksonian Club with the Undead and the Nihilistics. And it was the same kind of situation where you have these old PA dudes, Pennsylvania dudes sitting at the bar, but they were all totally cool and like pickled eggs, disgusting pickled eggs.
There's like
giant vats
a
and
sea of punks, and then this little old lady walks up to the stage and she was like, "Can you play the Beatles? And can you play Rod Stewart?"
we were like tuning up, and she's like, "Play the Beatles." Paul McCartney, that's what she
Paul
goes.
McCartney, that's what it was. Yeah.
They're like, "Cool guys, they're just doing their thing." Yeah, I get it. This is funny. I'm a member of the Troy Eagles Club.
I was going to ask you because I thought I've seen you post about that. Yeah.
I was there. That's why I was a little late coming on. I had to take a nap because usually I take a nap before I go to work. So I had to get my nap in earlier because I know I'd be talking to you guys. Well, I was hoping. I didn't know if I could do this.
I hear you.
Not working. It's your guys' help, but I mean. Yeah, no, it does, and you're right. They got the pickle jar and the jar of sauce that nobody eats, and touch that jar.
I remember at the Jacksonian, right? So we're sitting there, and then the Nihilistics came in, and obviously we're buddies with Ron and everybody. So Ron and Ajax come up.
Awesome.
I dared Ron. I was like, "You got to eat one of those eggs." And Ron actually wimped out. Hi, Ron. But Ajax ate it. Ajax ate it and threw up.
Yep.
Wow. Jax Lipinski. Oh my God, I love the Listics, man. Oh my God. Yeah.
Classic.
I kind of know him through Harley, but what a classic band. Nihilistics, take no prisoners, bro. What I'm gonna say, I don't care if you like it or not. Here it is.
I remember so I was going to see these really young, like I was saying, and I remember, God, probably 83. I could maybe even remember.
Wow.
It was Necros, Urban Waste, and Reagan Youth. And I remember the Nihilistics kind of walked by these giant. I was 14, so these giant dudes with like giant spikes, and someone was like, "That's the Nihilistics." I was like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah, they looked the part, no doubt, man. Jesus, if they weren't if anything was a band, you'd be a fucking biker crew. But no, I never got to see the Necro. Or no, I did get to see the Necros, but it was during their like metal phase, the all tangled up LP.
Right.
And
so you and I have talked about this on Facebook, but I'm getting the impression that you never took my advice and revisited that album because that album is great and it's hardcore. There's like half hardcore.
I have it. I totally forgot. Now you're saying it. I'm gonna. But I mean,
ignore the cover. Ignore the picture with the long hair.
the rat. Yeah.
I mean, I like the Rat Fink shit, but ignore that. Get past that, and it's hardcore. Most of that album is hardcore.
Well, yeah, they had grown their hair out. That was really basically it. And I mean, I wasn't a hater, and the reason I went to the concert, thank God, I think it was probably more we got dropped off early by whose ever parents got roped into dropping us off that night. But it was at a place called the Starlight Theater in Latham, probably like 15, 20 minutes up the road from where I live. But I mean, it's no longer there, but it was the Necros, Overkill, and Megadeth, and it was 86.
I saw that tour in Pittsburgh.
Bro, nobody was there for the Necros.
I was there for the Necros.
Oh, me too. I was happy to. People that talk about that show, they don't even remember the Necros. And I go, well, you probably weren't there. I was looking around. There was 10 of us standing in front of them.
Yeah, that's rough.
Nobody was there. It just, people didn't know. Metalheads didn't know who the Necros were.
Yeah.
Well, that's where bands like Megadeth or Necros rather fucked up, because they looked metal, but metalheads didn't know or care. And when you looked metal, then hardcore and punks didn't care either anymore.
Right.
So they fucked themselves over.
Absolutely.
Here's another thing I'll never forget from that show, right? So the stupidest shit, literally, I've ever heard anyone say on stage, and I've seen a lot of stupid people on stage. Dave Mustaine said, he goes, now you gotta listen carefully, because this is literally word for word what he said. He goes, we just got back from Japan, and I gotta say, I now know why we bombed Hawaii.
Oh my God. Dude, I'm not even surprised. I mean, you're talking here, man. He's done so much bridge burning. The guy couldn't get out of his own way, man.
No.
For real. The guy was always saying some, and you can tell he's always either drunk or on something, saying some stupid shit. And everybody goes, see, that's why Metallica got rid of him.
This fucking guy.
Yeah. Again, Dave, really,
I mean, I actually like the first two Megadeth albums. They're actually pretty cool.
I do too. That's it for me, though. I can't. Yeah. I'm not a guitar player, man. So after that, your fucking 20-minute solos not having to be.
Yeah.
I don't care.
And they're not even heavy. I hate those kind of leads and stuff. Too. Yeah.
And no, look, man, and it's cool, and I get it, and my guitar friends love it, but that's not me, dude. I'm not, and that, the later Maiden records for me, now to admit it, back then it'd be blasphemous, but I'm like, I'm not down with the loneliness of the long distance fronter, man.
Yeah, no.
Six dude.
Yeah, that one.
Peace of Mind, Number of the Beast. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
And then obviously Killer.
The first handful of albums are great.
And there's a handful on Power Slave, but just Bruce is another blowhard, but the guy's talented, so whatever.
He's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah.
Actually, the one album that has "Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter," kind of a latter day Maiden album. That's actually pretty cool.
What great art!
With the coffin.
Yeah.
Whoa! I grabbed it for that. I was like, look at this. Eric Riggs again. This is wow.
I had that song stuck in my head for like 16 hours yesterday when everyone was posting, it's Daughter's Day, and I could be like, bring your daughter.
I gotta admit, man, people, I'll always be the one playing the Deanna songs at the bar, and then somebody else come in and play some Number of the Beast or Peace of Mind, and I can't get those freaking songs out of my head for at least 3 days.
Yeah. They did. Stay there.
You know what though? Like, it kills me because I love early Maiden, up including Dickinson early Maiden, but fucking Steve Harris, to this day, if you mention any kind of punk influence, he'll be like, no, I hate punk. He'll interrupt you. He'll interrupt you if you're like, so what about the punk? No, there's no punk influence in Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
No, but there's no punk influence in Iron Maiden. It kills me.
Straight up metal. No, straight up metalhead. No. But Deanna on the other, he's the one saying no.
All those songs are super fucking punky. It's so stupid.
Absolutely. Oh my God. It's that, it's that and there were a bunch of bands, and some of them are really good. Like even Adrian Smith's band, Urchin.
Yeah.
And I think Murray had a little part in that. She's a roller. I mean, they got a video for it. It's awesome. It's like that, where that glam, late 70s glam was just starting to be heavy metal, you know? And there were a lot of bands like Hustler, like The Business did Get Out of My House. That's a Hustler song. There were so many bands like that, you know?
Yeah, Angel Witch was pretty good.
Angel Witch are great. Angel Witch are really good. Oh my God, I'm a loser. Or You're a Loser. Yeah,
the song Angel Witch was
yeah.
good, but yeah, loser. You know what? Similar to that, like Lars Ulrich is now currently. I saw an interview him like a year ago where he's saying, "Oh, you know, I didn't like punk. I liked it as an attitude. I never liked punk." And I'm like, he's like, so it wasn't an influence on Metallica. But I'm like, motherfucker, Cliff Burton and James Hetfield certainly liked punk.
Yeah.
So you can shut up about saying that it was not an influence on Metallica.
Yeah.
What I find funny is that absolutely, and you know, I mean, James and especially Cliff are always wearing the GBH shirts and the
Misfits tattoo.
But recently, I was just watching. I forget what was on. I get bored at night, so you'll just YouTube surfing, and you start here and end up. God, how did I end up here? But I was watching some kind of crazy old Metallica stuff, and James, I don't know when he graduated, but it was somewhere written where he had written it. I can't stand punks, or I hate punk. You know,
Really?
Wow.
it was like yeah, and it was the first I had seen that. I'm like, yeah. So I took that as like that was mostly Cliff being an influence on James.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, Cliff was a big open.
They covered the fucking Misfits.
Well, they covered the Misfits. They covered Discharge. They covered really.
But I really believe that was Cliff bringing that. I mean, because even Scott Ian said when he met Cliff, he had REM pins and stuff. Like he was listening to all different kinds of stuff, which surprised me and all. And I was like, I always laugh when people say, "Oh, well," like when the Black albums came out, or the Load and Reload or whatever. I don't even have those records, but we're like, oh, like, oh, I don't know, man. He was pretty open-minded about music, and they even have been better records if he was around. Just saying, like, he can't say that. That dude was listening to Faith No More and REM before anybody.
He was big friends with Jim Martin from Faith No More.
Yeah, they were in a band. It's actually on YouTube. They played a talent show, and it's Jim Martin, Cliff Burton, and I think it's the drummer for Faith No More. I think he's in it too. And they interview him after the show, like they won. And they're, like, "Oh, what do you think?" And they're just like, "What do you mean?" Like, they're drinking beers. Like, well, what? They're high school. Well, what it was, I was like, damn. And Cliff still looked like Cliff. He still looked, the denim, long straight hair. I don't think that dude ever changed.
I love this shit where, like, I've read interviews with James and Lars where they're like, people would actually give him shit back then, like, why you dress like that? And he's like, that's just how I dress. What?
Yeah.
With the flares and shit,
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't care.
One of the reasons that I really hate the fucking shit talking about punk and stuff, like, to me, I told you, I was originally punk and then got into metal later. So to me, it was such a huge thing to see Metallica with the Discharge and GBH and Misfit shirts. It was so awesome, a metal band wearing those shirts.
Oh, remember James used to paint his guitars. GBH was on everything. GBH stickers, Discharge stickers, Black Flag all over their guitars.
Yeah. Well, Slayer unapologetically was always with the punk influence with Animan.
Well, Ultimate Revenge, Jeff Hanneman, he's wearing a Gnostic Front Skinhead shirt.
And then the COC shirt on the back of one of the albums.
Oh, yeah, always the COC skull is everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Early COC influenced Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, all those.
I think it goes back to what we always talk about, that everyone puts punk anything down because they associate it with Sid Vicious and not knowing how to play, and they're like, well, I don't like that, so I don't like punk. And that's
right, which is bizarre because Sex Pistols, Ramones, and The Clash are more closer just a straight up rock and roll band than punk.
Totally,
the Damned too. The Damned could play the shit out of there.
Damned are amazing. They don't get their props for punks here. Not newer generation.
Yeah. Were you at MSG Misfits?
No, I didn't go to that one. I went to the Jersey, and I just opted out of the MSG one just because I knew it was just going to be a chaotic thing, man.
It was awesome. It was great.
I was high on life after the Jersey show, and I was
that was the best. Best. That was the best of the two that we saw for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was so cool. You
That
know,
show was great. The lineup was perfect. All the fucking opening bands.
it really was. You know, starting off with Bruce Springsteen. That was awesome. You know,
hilarious.
And then you know, Richie Darkside, he put it. We were texting because he was there. He was like, "I love fucking Jimmy played a stadium show to the 500 people on the floor like a club show."
Yeah.
Because he jumped out.
Absolutely. You know, Richie, him and his joke. He's got jokes, man.
Oh, he's got jokes. Hey, actually, I don't know. I'm sure you might remember this. The first time I actually met you was when Everyday Dollars played at the Hudson Duster in Troy, and I was playing bass in Everyday Dollars.
Okay. I remember that show, yeah. Because I think
you were playing, or maybe I know you were there because you were sitting at the bar.
Oh, I was always hanging out there, man. That was my bar. I was always hanging there. I went there so much that I would get paid and go there, and I'd be like, "Was Mike here?" And the bartender would be like, "Yeah, he's downstairs." Like, you know, they wouldn't be open yet. And Mike could be in his office, so I'd be like, "Yo, I'm here to pay my tab." You know, he let me run a tab. And one day he was just like, "You don't have one." I go, "Oh, cool. See ya." He's like, I was just automatically.
So you were the norm of the Hudson Duster.
Yeah.
No, Riley.
And you guys played up on the loft, right?
That was so fucking weird.
It was weird, man. I didn't like that because you're not near the crowd, you know. The band would be up there, and I'd be on the floor downstairs. I didn't like being up top. It's just weird, you know.
It was really strange. And then you know what else from that show that sticks out in my mind? Because you know, Troy around that area at least was like everything was like boarded up. There was like nothing around. And Richie would take a shit.
Bro.
And we were like asking if there's somewhere else for him to go, and you and everybody was there early ain't, because that door, the bathroom door, didn't have a lock.
Yeah, no, it was horrible.
And I remember the shitter. Not only was there not a lock on the main door of the bathroom, the shitter was like a old school, old Western like door that didn't cover.
Nah, it was horrible. Yeah,
we all promised Richie we'll guard the door. We will, bro. We will. You and me and Sean Money and Rob Daly and stuff. And then the second Richie went in there, we all split.
Of course, because that's what Richie would have done.
Oh, yeah. And then he shrapneled the whole back wall like he really had to shit. And the whole fucking club stank.
Except for walking away, Richie would have brought some people over to go in.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Hey.
Something? You want to see something?
First time I ever met you was at that show. But
absolutely, I remember that because I think that was the first time I met Rob. You know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Well, Richie, you know, did the old, you know, bands Rob used to be in.
Oh yeah.
And I went.
Oh. The bands that Rob's mother doesn't like to hear about.
I got those records. And I was, hey, dude, you were in Blow. He's like this, you know. He had the stance like, yeah. And I'm like, oh man, I was just listening to that one record the other day. Oh, cool, nice to meet you.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yep.
Todd Forkin, you know. The one bad Todd, you know, Todd from Starkweather was in with him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm trying not to mention names here just because.
I mean,
we know what you're talking
about. That was supposed to, you know what? I actually made album cover art because their album, unreleased album, was supposed to be reissued along with whatever was issued.
Wow, really?
I made an album cover, and then it never happened.
Wow, I got to inquire about that one.
It sounded great. Like Rob had fucked with it, you know, because he's a studio guy. And
dude, they were a great band, but you know, because what they represented, actually the cover of the records on my sailing over there, but we can't see it.
Well, you know what? If for anybody wondering, it's actually in the City Gardens book. It's not that secret. With the Exploited show.
I thought they never played. Now we're talking about Rob was in a couple different bands.
Well, I'm talking about the band that played at that Exploited show, the infamous City Gardens Exploited show.
Okay, because I don't think the other one played a show ever.
Oh, I'm talking about the Uprise, then I'll say it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking about that. No, I'm not talking about that. the other one that we won't go into it because
I'm not even sure.
I don't want
Rob about this.
I mean, I got it on CD. I got it on vinyl. Like I said, the cover is hanging on my, wall. It's a great record. It's,
Yeah, that's right. Okay. I forgot about that.
I remember Rob going, O'Reilly, we never played out. I go, well, yeah, you never played out. Where are you going to play? No, you guys can't play out. No. But no, yeah.
That's
so
funny.
well, we were talking records more so, I go, dude, I was just listening to a record the other day. They weren't your average oi punk band. Like Todd could really play guitar, man,
Yeah.
That record is unbelievable, dude.
I don't know if I've heard it.
You should check it out, man. I mean, sure, it's on YouTube. All that stuff is,
Yeah.
New Glory, yeah. And
Bob probably played it for me, but I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, no, him and Todd, because I think Rob didn't sing. Rob
played drums.
He played drums, right?
Yeah. He's a good drummer. He was in Rob played drums for me for a while in my band, Sammy Town Jones, in the 2000s.
Dude, he's a great drummer.
He's great, man. He's really solid. He's a fucking good drummer.
Have you seen him in years? I've not seen him.
Yeah, I'm in touch with Rob.
Spoke to Rob on the phone like a day
He
ago.
recorded, hey, you know what? I'll go ahead and give us a shameless plug. He recorded this Chesty Malone 7-inch on green vinyl.
Yeah, I got to get one of those, man. I'm so far behind new stuff. It's terrible, man. Newer stuff. I just, this year has just been just wacky, man.
Really? Wait, what?
You're crazy. Yeah.
For all of us,
Yeah.
So,
I know.
And collecting records is a joy for me. So there's not been a lot of joy this year. So not negative, but it's just been on a negative, for all of us, like I said. But I got to get back into swinging things.
Well,